Hey guys, it's Ashley Nicole here. Thank you for tuning into this video. Today we're talking about women in entrepreneurship. Today with Marissa Romero. Did I say it right?
Yes,
I
you
said it right.
did.
I'm so excited. So we're talking about women in entrepreneurship today. I'm so excited to have her here, a part of this discussion. We did do 10 tips, but the first 5 is on her channel. So definitely take the time. I'm gonna put the link below. You guys can go to the channel and watch the video right now to get the first 5 tips. And we're gonna go ahead and do the next 5 tips. So Marissa, go ahead and explain a little bit about you.
Okay, so for those of you guys who are new to who I am, my name is Marissa, and my background is kind of traditional in the sense of like, wait, hold on. And so my story is, I'm 29 years old. I started off the traditional route. I went to college. I even went and got my master's. I graduated. I'm a civil engineer by background, so I did that for 6.5 years. And until last year, around March 2017, I said goodbye to my career forever. It was that big leap of faith that people are, freaked out to do. But I was like, you know what, I'm going to make this online business work. So I do e-commerce, I do affiliate marketing, I do all things online to, grow my businesses and grow other people's businesses. So that is my story. And we are both connected here in Bali, Indonesia. It's a beautiful day. It's kind of crazy. We ran into each other like a week and a half ago.
So crazy.
It was such a cool thing. So we decided, I'm like, you know what, we need to collab and give you guys this value.
Yes, for sure. So I'm so excited to have her on board, you guys. It's been such a great time, a great conversation, even from the previous 5 tips. You guys have to go and watch that video right now. We talked about some really powerful things that women should be doing in entrepreneurship to help break out those barriers that people in society and other men have put us in. So definitely go ahead and watch that video right now. But now we're talking about these 5 tips, the next part of it, the 5 tips that we're going to talk about today. So the first thing I wanted to talk about was standing up and being confident. You have to speak up. You got to speak up. You have to be able to accept the responses that you get. And sometimes you have to think before you say. Sometimes with women we get emotional and we just say things and we don't really know what it means, or you're just talking out of emotions versus really thinking about it, making sure you collect your thoughts, make sure you're conveying those thoughts, and also being confident in what you're saying. A lot of times with us in entrepreneurship, we're not really confident. So how can anybody else take us to be confident? How can anybody take us seriously if we're not taking the time to take our own selves seriously and really just making sure that we're confident within ourselves and within the information that we're relaying?
Yep. And what I wanted to add to that was, when we talk about confidence, people often say don't fake it, or don't fake it till you make it, right?
Yeah.
Is that
they actually tell you to fake it till you make it.
Yeah. But in this case, we want you to fake it till you make it, and not that you have these lavish cars and pretending to have this mansion. Hell no, don't do that. But what you need to do is, fake your courage and your confidence, because you're not gonna ever feel confident in the beginning, but you have to have that courage to stand up for yourself and what you believe in, especially in a male-dominated industry like ours, and both of our backgrounds in the corporate world, or however you want to call it. But you gotta be, even if you're wrong, you just gotta be strong about it, and you gotta have conviction in what you're saying, you're doing, and what you're the message you're putting out on your social media channels and building your brand. So fake it till you make it. Have courage.
Yeah, and I definitely agree with that. I always say it so that you can manifest it. So it doesn't have to be unrealistic. Sometimes we have this point of view of how we see ourselves. It may be different than how we see ourselves now, but if you try to match yourself now to that person, eventually you'll become that person. And so make sure you have all the necessary tools to make sure that you're confident enough and have the courage enough to actually be that woman that's going to lead, that's going to make sure that you go against the grain, because you have to, especially as a woman. You're doing things that nobody think that we should be able to do, so make sure you have that confidence and the courage to do so. So yeah, the second tip is overcoming perfectionism. Oh my gosh. Now girl, I can't even tell y'all, I can't even start. I feel like I had struggled with that, especially in the beginning of my entrepreneurship journey. I wanted everything to be perfect because I felt like I was unknowledgeable about things. I hired so many mentors, I would just have my hands in so many different things. I was researching on Google all night, all day, finding all these textbooks, and still wasn't really getting anything that I thought that I should get. It's because I was really trying to be perfect instead of me just trying to make one action a day. And so I feel like instead of being perfect, trying to be right on, just try to make one action today instead of being perfect. You know, nobody's perfect. Nobody knows how to do everything. But just research, show yourself approved of what you're doing, and make sure that you take one step at a time. Make sure you put that action towards it.
Yep. And, you know, a great point about perfectionism is that the men, you know what, the men, they want to see us succeed. I mean, you know, that sounds kind of, you know, maybe sound kind of crazy, but they do want to, like, see us succeed. They get excited when, you know, we succeed at, you know, a certain task or, you know, whatever we're trying to accomplish. Like, they're rooting for us. And the reason I bring this up is because, you know, when I used to be in lots of meetings as an engineer, and I was a bridge engineer at that, and there was a lot of just white men. That's all there was. It was just white men and me. And so, you know, at first at these meetings, I would say nothing ever, even though, like, I was scared because I kind of knew what I was talking about, but I was like, oh, I'm not good enough yet to speak up about what we should do on this project. But one time, I remember clearly in this meeting, I was just like, you know what, you know, F it, I'm just gonna say what I want to say. And I did, and at the end, people were like, you know, Marissa, we really like that, you know, action you took in that meeting. I mean, we didn't even think about that innovation for this project. And I was just like, yes. And it's just like, you don't have to be perfect, because I struggle with OCDism and being a perfectionist and having my funnels look perfect, colors this, videos that, and it's just like, you just need to put it out there, even if it's not ready, because whatever it is you're waiting to do or to produce, people can get value with it, you know, how it is now and what you have to share now.
Yeah, and of course, over time, when you keep doing things, of course, you're going to go through more experiences where now you're making different funnels. Now you know different ways to make funnels. Like, you have to kind of go with what you already know right now. Like, stop trying to do big boy stuff if you're not really there yet. Like, try to do something on your level and work your way up instead of trying to just go head first onto that. And I feel like men look forward to what we're doing because we show the way. You know, as women, like I said in her video, we are leaders, and not only are we leaders, we gave birth to all these people, okay? Every man, every person came from a woman. So if you could think about it, the woman as a universe produces everything. So of course they're going by our lead. They're only doing what we show them. That's why I believe that men are only what their mothers make them to be. So if that's the case, they're really following our lead. So when we go over that step and we create new trends and new this and new that, now they're following suit and doing new things too, because we're showing them the way. Men don't really know anything without us. That's why they say that women are just like the one thing that men need all the time. You know, without a woman, they really are lost. And it's because we show the way. And so that really shows to perfectionism as well. You know, nothing in this world is perfect, but things can actually work out in your favor as though it was perfect. Just because you went ahead, took that leap of faith, and decided just to go ahead and do it. Like, what's the worst that can happen? No one goes into your funnel. That's the worst that can happen, and you just keep changing it. Like, that's not a failure. Yeah. That's a learning experience. Just keep going, keep going. So I'm definitely for that.
Yep.
Yeah, and then the third tip is making sure you have emotional control. I know that with women, we are very emotional beings, and that is a good thing. It's also a bad thing. I feel like the good thing about being in emotional control is the intuitiveness. You know, women are very intuitive to what's around them, what's going on. Sometimes we know before it actually happens. Sometimes we figure out things without knowing any information just because of our intuition. But also, the emotional can actually control things where you're actually trying to control the outcome, trying to control what the other person does, trying to control what they say, how they say it. But that's their own life. You can only control what you do. And so I feel like the emotional control with all the imbalances that happen, you know, of course, when it's that time of the month, we always go crazy. And you got to kind of know how to balance that. You know, like I said in her video, we cannot just erase that and move it away. You have to know how to manage it, know how to work through those emotional barriers. And it may take some time. You may have to keep, you know, going through it over and over again for you to learn. But it's possible. So you want to make sure you have emotional control, especially in entrepreneurship, because you're going to be dealing with other men who are not emotional, or you're going to be dealing with women who are emotional and need to have an example of what emotional control is. And so you want to make sure that you're doing it not just for you, but for the other women that's following you too, and also for the men that are around witnessing what you're doing. So definitely try to have emotional control.
Yeah, and I love that, you know, Ashley brings this up, because I struggle with, you know, sometimes just being mad. I can get mad really easily sometimes, and, you know, what I've learned, you know, a little bit about myself, or actually a lot about myself from being, you know, in a relationship, you know, then the person I'm in a relationship with is also my business partner. I've learned a lot about myself because of the feedback that I get from him. And usually the old me would say, like, what the F? Like, that's not what I do. And like, you know, I do that because of X. And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. I got to just take a step back and breathe a little bit. And because when you defend yourself, that's your emotions kind of going wild. It's like, you know, you when you part of controlling your emotions is, you know, self-reflect. Yeah, exactly.
Self-awareness,
And so like you want to just, when you have those moments of like either, you know, you want to get mad or angry or cry, it just, what's helped me is, you know, doing what we said in the last video, the meditation in the morning rituals, but also just take a breath, like take some deep breaths in and out, slowly in and out, and that is what has really helped me. And just, you know, when people give you feedback, it's not, they're not attacking you, it's not the constructive criticism, they're not attacking you, but you got to be willing and open to take that and say like, hey, you know what, this is what I can improve about myself, and not let your emotions get into the equation.
Yeah, what I've come to realize is a lot of times when we feel some type of way about something, it's because it's true. And we just don't want to hear it. You know, we want somebody to call us out on our stuff, you know, and it's really just true. And you're just mad and angry because somebody called you out on it and you thought you was covering it up. So it's just like, okay, in a relationship, that person is around you 24/7, so they're going to bring those things up. And like you said, the constructive criticism, I know I had a problem with that too, especially in my relationship in the beginning. I was like, what am I telling you about myself? Like, you know, like, go ahead and do your own thing. But then I realized, like, okay, I have to constantly change myself. And not only do I have to change myself, I have to be self-aware of myself. Like, I can't depend on everybody else to do everything for me. I got to depend on myself. For myself to do these things for myself, because if not, how can I expect somebody else to do it for me? And so it's really just coming down to balancing those emotional peaks and also the negative emotions that come with that. Just make sure that you release yourself from the negative energies, because it does harper and does become bigger and bigger, and sometimes we have blow ups. That's why we're like angry, can't come down for a while, because we let all that build up. And so when you do feel yourself getting negative, we all have those moments where, you know, it's just a lot of negativity going on. So after the negativity has happened, take the time to actually decipher what just happened, why it happened, that way you can release yourself from all those negative feelings, those negative thoughts, which go into my other point, which is getting rid of negative thoughts. I feel like negative thoughts are a huge problem in women in entrepreneurship. And negative thoughts don't have to be so mean. It can just be simple things like, I can't do it, or this is beneath me, or more than me. Or a negative thought can be, oh, I thought I did this and maybe I didn't do this right, or just something negative when it could be a positive thing, you know. So sometimes I know for sure that I don't ever look at the negatives sometimes. Now, I would be aware of the negatives that has happened, but I always look at the positive of the outcome of what could have been, or what should have been, or what actually was. And so I make sure I take the time to dissect those negative thoughts, ask myself why I even had that thought. And majority of the time that's hard to answer, because you have to really dig deep into child traumas. Who told you that about yourself? Dealing with that person or that feeling, so actually when the next person do it, they won't get what that person did. A lot of times we have a problem. Let's say me, Marissa, has a problem and I'm all mad at her. Now I'm mad at the next girl, all because I didn't deal with my problem that I had with Marissa.
Hurt people.
Exactly. And so I make sure that I constantly, when I am hurt, to get rid of that and to talk it out with that person, if it is a person. Now in business, of course, there's a lot of other business entrepreneurs or business owners that may come to the table with something that's different than yours, and sometimes they may actually be a little negative. And how I deal with that in actual transaction or a meeting, I make sure I listen to everybody's perspective. Doesn't matter if it's right, negative, or positive. I just make sure I listen to it. And I acknowledge that negative thought. You know, I tell them like, oh, I agree. Or yeah, that used to be me. Or I actually tell them, you can't ignore those negative thoughts. You got to bring it to the light, acknowledge it, and then kind of go over it with the positive. And the thing about positive thoughts that I love is they cancel out the negative thought. So no matter what somebody meant for you, it doesn't even matter, because whatever you mean for yourself is going to happen. You can't really let somebody else dictate that for you.
We're on negative thoughts, right?
Yeah, negative thoughts.
So one thing that, because you know, still negative thoughts are gonna go through your head no matter who you are every day. I mean, you're human, right? But you can do stuff to reduce the time that negative thought is in your mind, and also the amount of negative thoughts you have, you know, in your brain going on. So, you know, one message that I got, you know, maybe a couple months ago now, was that negative thoughts and thoughts in general will always pass, no matter what. That emotion that thought stirs is always going to pass and fade away, whether that's fear, whether that's anxiety, it's always going to go. So what you need to do is, in that moment of your deepest, you know, anger or fear, whatever emotion you have that's causing it to be negative, you have to just, you know, like I said, breathe, but also do something that is going to make, you know, your heartbeat come down a little bit, and that's going to help, you know, you process the thought. Maybe that's going for a walk outside. Maybe for me, I like to release my anger at the gym, you know, so, and after I do that, I think about, you know, what's making me upset, you know, and what's the negative thought, and I come back and I'm like, you know, it's not that bad.
Yeah.
Whatever it is, it's going to get solved. All problems have solutions.
I believe in that. It's always a solution to every problem. You just gotta find it, and then also you gotta feel like you deserve it. You deserve a different solution, or just go the extra mile, because negative thoughts, what I've come to realize is that they can't fester. You know, if you choose not to deal with them, because they're like seeds, just like how positive thoughts are seeds, so are negative ones. Yep. And sometimes you know, produce dead things. And so you try to figure out why your life is, you know, having this negative effect, or why these negative things, probably because you said it and actually believed it, and now it became it. The same thing is what we're saying in her channel, where you have to actually say the positive things so that you can become it. It's the same thing, same philosophy, whether it's positive or negative. So majority of the time, everything on the outside of us reflects us. And so if everything around you is negative, we got to self-evaluate ourselves, ladies, and just say, what is it that I'm doing? Or what is it that I'm choosing to do? What is it that's inside of me that's causing attraction to other negative things, you know? So take the time to dissect your thoughts. Make sure that you're having productive thoughts. Make sure you're having positive thoughts. Yep. And like she said, if you do have negative thoughts, try to figure out something that is comfortable for you to do to release that tension, whether it's working out, whether it's boxing, whether it's taking a walk, maybe hugging your kids, maybe going shopping. You never know. So just make sure you take those necessary tools. Now the fifth and last one is standing in your success and accomplishments. I feel like as women in entrepreneurship, we actually discredit ourselves a lot.
Oh
like,
my gosh.
I feel like I have a lot of experience, I have a lot of this, but when I talk to people, it's like, oh, I don't really do this, or oh, I just got a little experience with this. And it's like, why don't I even telling them that? Why am I telling them that? Because honestly, I feel like that. It's like, I feel like I'm not enough. And so I have to go and do my self-work and my self-worth and evaluate and say, you know what? I am worth something. You know what? I did accomplish this, and that is good enough. It may just be one thing, maybe a small thing. It doesn't matter. Some people have not one accomplishment. So the fact that you have one or a half of one, that means you're a step further to your destiny. You're a step further to that freedom lifestyle. And so I believe that standing in success is so necessary and so powerful, not just for that, but also for the men that surround us. We gotta let them know, hey, we experience too. We're educated too. We have all of these, you know, accolades and things just like you too. But they won't know if we won't tell them. They won't know if we're not confident in those accomplishments or those successes that we've had. So I just urge you to just be aware of your successes, those accomplishments. Tell yourself those accomplishments every day. Tell yourself those successes, and then you will remember where you used to be and say, you know what, I actually came a long way. I shouldn't beat up on myself because I actually succeeded and did something different, or just acknowledging the accomplishments that you have too. That's why it's very important that we stand in that, and then also that we relay the information. You never know who that may help. Some people feel like what you're saying is invalid until you start bringing out credentials and experiences. So make sure you definitely do that, and then make sure that you're sharing the word and the knowledge to other people as well, so they can take you serious.
Yep.
Yeah.
One tip that I have for you guys, and helped me tremendously, because I'm a very competitive woman in everything I do, and I get down on myself so much because my failures just always out highlight the successes, and it's terrible. You know, and I'm getting better. Like, it's definitely something that you get better at over time. But what's helped me with realizing my successes is writing them down every day. What I do, get a journal, just every single night before you go to bed. What did I do well today? What were my successes? And you'll start to realize that you come up with like 10 of them. Like, I worked out today, I talked with my mentor for 30 minutes, I built the sales page to my funnel, I set up a campaign. Even though you're going about the day and those tasks that you accomplish. Maybe you I mean, whoever finishes their to-do list, right?
Yeah.
I mean, but you finish things on your list. You get things done. It might not be anything, but you get things done, and those are successes. And that, that exercise of writing down your successes is also part of your self-love and, your self-talk to yourself. Because when you're visualizing your successes on paper and you're acknowledging yourself, like, yeah, I got all this done, and oh my gosh, like, yeah, yesterday I did make $150 online. Like, that's ahead of many millions of people, millions of men who haven't even started, and who are still trying.
Right.
So it's like, you have to really embrace your successes every single day, and that is how you're going to move past the failures. You're not even going to consider them failures anymore. They're just going to be like, oh, okay, that didn't work. Next. So that's a good tip, is to write down your successes. What is that?
That's my temple, I guess.
So write down your successes every single night.
Yeah. The successes, writing down things is really key. Not only just for you and your self-love, I believe it's nice to keep record of those things. You never know how your business may go later. Like, I took my success with real estate investing and wrote it all down. What I did, how I did it, what I did when I walked in the door, what I did when I left. And now that's the blueprint now that we have for our boot camp. Now that's a blueprint now for our whole investment company. So now you never know what those little notes are actually for. It may be for you at that moment, but you never know later who they may be needed for, or what business or what you're going to create off of that blueprint. And so make sure you definitely jot down those successes and those accomplishments, and also treat yourself. You need to treat yourself with accomplishments. Stop asking for everybody else to do it. It's time for you to do it for yourself. You deserve it. You made the accomplishment. You made the success. Now go ahead and take a moment for yourself and just take that in. And so I urge everybody, go ahead and take yourself on a date and just say thank you to myself for doing all these necessary tools and for not giving up. Not giving up is just a great thing. I feel like every woman in entrepreneurship should never give up, no matter what it may look like, no matter what income you're having. It doesn't matter. Keep going, because you're needed. People are waiting for you. Men are waiting for us to take our rightful place. They're giving it to us willingly, but we're not accepting of that. And so we got to make sure that we fix ourselves individually. So thank you guys so much. Thanks, Marissa, for coming to our channel.
Thank you guys.
All my new subscribers, thank you so much for subscribing. All my current subscribers, your girl loves you. And I'm just so thankful for you. We're going to write all the links below to Marissa's channel, how you can read the first 5 tips, and also maybe comment.